Welcome back, everyone. Today, we are going to learn one of the most important topics, which actually will come not only in AWS Cloud Practitioner, but as you progress higher up in AWS Cloud Learnings. So, this is the topic for today, best practices for IAM. So, we know what is IAM. It is identity and access management, right? Identity and access management means like creation of your users, groups, roles, authorization, and access to those particular users. How and what are the best practices which needs to be implemented? So this is the link in AWS, which actually goes through some of the important points here, which we will go and we will learn a bit about it with respect to Cloud Practitioner exam certification. Excuse me. So, first is require human users to use federation with an identity provider. This means here, like, if you have worked in a multinational company or you are working in some multinational banks, or let me give you an example like how it is being established there. There we use Active Directory where we have the same login and password for multiple services. For example, if I want to log into my Office Windows laptop, we use the Active Directory password, login password. If we want to print to a network printer, we log into that particular printer or configure that printer with our same login and password. So Active Directory is a central repository of user IDs, passwords, roles, authentications, and all these things. If you want to understand in a very simple layman terms, right? So everywhere in an organization, which are matured organization, they always rely on Active Directory, which is a central repository for user identification and management, right? And it can be not only for server login, it can be for your other resources login as well. For example, if you want to log into a database, you want to log into a monitoring server, or you want to log into printer and all these things, right? Second is requires workload to use temporary credentials. Temporary credentials, which we will be doing a video later, is like, I want to access the printer for my printing job, which is going to be completed in, let's say, 5 to 10 minutes. Then I don't need to actually log in there for long time, isn't it? For example, if I want to give access to environment or EC2 instance for some other identity other than the one I am using for my login, then we can give them temporary credentials which will be valid for that particular session. We don't need to create a user password in the Active Directory permanently, but we can actually configure your, like, say, token service and other things, which is we will be covering in upcoming video lectures, hands on, step by step and click by click. So this is where we can allocate temporary credentials. Require multi-factor authentication, which we have already done the video, why it is required, how to configure. Please refer to my videos in this particular playlist. update access keys, and this is what we have also done. How to connect with access keys from your laptop, we have already done that. And we should keep on updating the access keys as per the guidelines or the standards and the policies followed by the respective organization. Follow best practices to protect your root user credentials. So for example, root user credentials. In AWS, we don't use the root user for our normal admin task. Rather, we create an user and we give them admin full access, because the root is actually one level up than admin, who can actually change all the things, even delete your account, AWS account, right? So these are some of the best practices. And for root, what we have done is in our AWS login, we have definitely enabled multi-factor authentication. And in all my videos, you will see like I rarely used root. Actually, I never used root till now for my videos. I just created the user ID SID and I have given it admin access to do the stuff. Okay. Apply least privilege permissions. This one is one of the features of security pillar of well architected framework, which we have gone through in the video. So please refer that video, but it's in a very layman term is need to know basis permissions. Like if I want to have a read access to view the records in a database or in any of the setups, I should not have write access or modify access, right? I should have read access to that particular table which I am authorized to see, right? Next is managed policies. Like for example, when we uh, discussed about roles and policies, policy generation, we see like there are managed policies automatically generated by AWS. So we should actually use those policies to tweak to as per the standards of the multinational firm which you are working for, or as per the guidelines, right? It should not be like the AWS managed policies are put in as it is, because in most of the cases, for example, S3 full access will have you have read, write, delete every permission. We need not actually use that managed policy. Okay. Then we have already done IAM access analyzer, which will tell us like if any of our accounts are connected with external account or have connectivity to the external IP or external world, and where there we can fix it. So if you are not aware of this part, please feel free to view my video. Then this is most important. Regularly review and remove unused users, roles, permissions, policies, and credentials. So IAM Access Analyzer can also give you like this particular user ID, role has not been used for let's say 6 months, for example. So you can definitely actually disable it and delete it as per the policy of that particular firm. Okay, so far so good. Okay, good. Then you have guardrails across multiple accounts. This is a new term for you. I understand that. I will be covering it under, AWS organization and service control policies, which actually is about multiple accounts management from a central repo point of view. So you have a centralized point from where you can actually manage those multiple organizations, multiple accounts from one central place. So for example, in an organization, some organization might have a finance department, some might have audit department, some might have production support department, and all these things, right? So you have to have permission guardrails, like one department accounts cannot be actually using or assessing the other department's accounts, or there should be limited access or no access as per the requirement of the organization. Last but not the least is permission boundaries, which we will cover in the next video. But just to give you a high level thing or high level permissions, or high level idea about permission boundaries. For example, like we are creating or allowing the developers the permission to uh, delegate or create some roles for their workloads, like what permissions that particular role will have, and all these things can be actually configured in the permission boundaries. So it helps in actually automation, where you do a self-service portal sort of thing with appropriate authorization and access to the developers who wants to test their workload and check that everything is working or not. So these are the important points which we should be taking note of in terms of IAM best practices. Okay, so that's all for this lecture, and I will see you in the next lecture. Thank you so much. Cheers.